I moved west and have been gone for a long time, but I'm still, when the Tigers winning and the Lions are winning, I'm happy.
You're not very happy then.
You know the drill. We're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're going to ask you to introduce yourselves. And please introduce your teacher. My name is Dan Wong. I'm a retired attorney and former judge. I'm also on the National Board of Directors for the Center for Civic Education. I now live in Boise, Idaho.
My name is Lynn Simons, and I'm a district judge in the state of Nevada. I live in Reno, Nevada. I have relatives that live in Michigan. I always like to take this moment to just remind you to take a very deep breath right now. Right? And all the parents, too.
My name is Tom Tinder, and I'm an attorney from Charleston, West Virginia.
Thank you for allowing us to testify before you today. We are a unit composed of all juniors from East Grand Rapids High School. My name is Anissa Berner.
My name is Joey Cuvier.
My name is Paul James.
My name is Ella Petenpole. My name is Paige Lystra. Our coaches are the wonderful Adam Horos and Ben Langholtz, and we are Unit 6.
Right, thank you. So the question we have chosen for you is question number 1. Today, more than 1 million immigrants come to the United States each year, more than to any other country in the world. In 1970, immigrants were 4.7% of the population. Today, there are more than 43 million immigrants living in the United States, which is around 14% of the population. What are some of the most commonly claimed benefits and costs of immigration? What evidence supports or contradicts these claims? What are the advantages and disadvantages of our present immigration policy? How great a problem is illegal immigration? And what are our current policies for dealing with it? What changes, if any, would you suggest? Explain your position. You may begin.
Besides taking jobs from American workers, illegal immigration creates huge economic burdens on our criminal justice system and our public safety. This statement, made by former U.S. Senator Jan-C. Ting, highlights what many people believe to be the cost of immigration. Such statements from people in power lead many Americans to believe the cost of immigration outweigh the benefits. However, that isn't the case.
The most common misconception about immigration is the amount of crime brought by immigrants. According to the Cato Institute, in 2015, the arrest rate for all immigrants was 81% below that of native-born Americans. Immigrants are also blamed for taking jobs, but that too is false. In 2010, the United Farm Workers of America offered 1.8 million farm jobs to Americans, and only 7 people took a job. Many economists further argue that many jobs exist only because we have cheap labor due to immigration.
One of the more commonly claimed benefits is that immigrants play a crucial role in the expansion of our economy. About 40% of patents created in the U.S. are made by immigrants, exemplifying their contribution of new ideas. Following a 2011 law banning undocumented immigrants from working in their state, Alabama saw an $11 billion drop in their GDP. This shows the pivotal role immigrants play in the economy and the consequences of not allowing them into our workforce.
Yet we simply cannot deny the cost of immigration to the United States and its government. When immigrants first enter a community, Harvard professor Robert Putnam claims that citizens turtle up, decreasing the engagement. 50% of Americans believe that the American culture and way of life has changed for the worse since the 1950s because of immigration. In addition, first-generation immigrants have a financial cost to the U.S. government of $57 billion annually.
Despite needing reform, there are some aspects of our policies that are beneficial. The current green card policies are very family-based, as 70% of green cards are given to families of U.S. citizens. The practice of reuniting families is one that many believe to be important. In addition, our policies encourage investors and skilled workers to come into our country by granting them green cards.
However, the numerous flaws overshadow the few advantages of current policy. The United States Diversity Visa Lottery Program gives just 50,000 green cards annually to those from eligible countries. In 2018, the United States received 23 million applications for the program, yet the number of green cards granted has remained the same since 1990. Due to the restrictive nature of present-day immigration policies and a shortage of immigration courts, there is a backlog of over 800,000 immigration cases, and the average time to receive a hearing is nearly 2 years.
Illegal immigration is still a major issue in the United States, despite numbers being down from the peak in 2007. But there are policies in place. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement helps to secure the nation's borders and protect citizens from the crime of illegal immigration. The United States has also implemented the E-Verify system, but it is optional and many states choose not to reprimand businesses that don't use this system. Although these policies are in action, in 2016 there were still about 11 million undocumented immigrants in America.
Improvements could be made to further border security at points of entry by implementing new technology that contains sensors necessary to detect illegal drugs, as the majority of drugs are brought through legal entry points. Furthermore, the United States should take steps to address and limit the push factor by implementing policies that better countries where most immigrants come from. It's important that monetary and NGO aid, such as the Peace Corps, are sent to areas that contain the largest influx of immigrants coming to America.
President George W. Bush once said, "Nearly all Americans have ancestors who braved the ocean. Immigration is not just a link to America's past, it's also a bridge to America's future. All immigrants have the potential to add to the economic and cultural success of the United States. But without change to our green card process and more effective policies to limit the push factors, that cannot happen." Thank you. We are now ready for your questions.
Okay, so you know I'm going to ask you this question, and what's your view on the path, the citizenship, and give me some specifics about what that path would look like if you support it. If you don't, just tell me you don't support it.
Well, I think the starting process by getting a green card and coming into the country is the biggest problem with the path to citizenship. Because of how difficult it is to enter the country legally, many people are incentivized to try and cross illegally because, as we said, only 50,000 green cards are given in the lottery program despite more than 20 million people applying.
There's also a big cost that comes with the citizenship process. On average, it costs people $6,000 to $8,000 to become a citizen of the United States, and that's because before you apply for citizenship, you have to live here for 5 years with a green card.
A possible loophole in becoming a citizen would be the jus soli, and if an immigrant were to cross the border and give birth, that baby would automatically become a citizen of the United States.
Another loophole is claiming asylum when it is not needed.
Talking about, again, a pathway to citizenship, what is your position on a person gaining citizenship by serving in the military?
I think that the process we have in place is already good enough. The people who are serving in the military that have green cards are already on an expedited path to citizenship, and I think that the current policy is what we should keep.
Although some could argue that since they are serving for our country, they do deserve the right to gain citizenship, and they should also have the right to vote because they are doing so much for our country already.
Continuing on with citizenship, you know, an immigrant has to pass a citizenship test in order to become a citizen. Should we require our high school students to pass the same type of a citizenship test? Why or why not?
I think this could be a good idea, as over 1/3 of people living in America do not know one of the branches of government. So if we were to inform our citizens on what exactly are our policies and what is happening in government, we could be even more educated ourselves.
In a way, we already do have, in the state of Michigan, there's a requirement that you must graduate high school after taking government class, and so that it's very similar type of process.
And this holds true nationwide. 48 out of 50 states require students to pass a civic education course before graduating high school, but I do think that improvements should be made to our civic education.
Thank you.
So I want to talk to you. You mentioned increasing monetary policy or aid to these countries that we're getting lots of asylum seekers from. How would that work? How much money are we talking about? Double or triple what we have? Although you know the current administration wants to cut it back. I want to know what you say. Should it be double, triple, and exactly where should that money go?
I don't think we can place a number on how much money we should give. I think that we should focus more on the programs we're using. One way would be using the United Nations Developmental Program and sending people into those underdeveloped countries and establishing better education and economic opportunities for the people as opposed to going through the governments.
I also think we should send Doctors Without Borders to particular countries, especially currently in Venezuela. The government does not have the resources necessary to take care of patients in hospitals. I think it's important that basic human rights are provided and they are taken care of through Doctors Without Borders.
Going off of my colleague Anissa, in Syria as well, the government, the UN Secretary General documented that the Syrian government has killed over 4,000 children and has bombed 600 hospitals and schools. So if we were to send these programs like Doctors Without Borders to these places and help them with assistance and helping them just establish more of their basic human rights as the government is not providing these back, we could help their country as well.
So let's talk about allocating resources to the borders. I think you talked about previously new technology to include entry of illegal drugs. What other type of resources should be allocated specifically to the borders?
Some argue, including our current president, that we need a wall at the border, and that would cost billions of dollars. And I think that we can find a middle ground between having what we have now and a more stringent policy, but I just don't think that the wall is what we need.
Although to go against my colleague, we already spend $155 billion on illegal immigrants. So a $5 billion wall would not, financially, would not make sense.
What about, contrary to the wall, what about just using resources to add more legal points of entry?
If we increase the amount of border officers at the borders, this could help ease the security checkpoints and make things go by faster, but also more efficiently, because they will be able to check more efficiently and figure out and stop more drugs from coming into the country.
Personally, I don't think that we need more legal entry points. We already have a shortage of ICE agents, and if we're to increase the amount of points that immigrants could enter legally, that would stretch the force a lot thinner than it already is, and I think that is not the best solution that we can have.
I believe just improving our system would be beneficial. For example, adding more immigration courts, considering there's 800,000 cases that still need to be heard and are backlogged.
Do you agree or disagree with the president using his executive authority and claiming national security to send troops to the border and take other actions?
I disagree because in Article, may I please finish my statement? In Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4 of the U.S. Constitution, it grants the powers of immigration to Congress, and I think that the president abusing this is not a beneficial thing.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I enjoyed your presentation very much. You answered the question thoroughly and completely, and I especially liked your answers to my cross-examination questions because, quite frankly, that's where a team shines in answering thoughtfully and carefully and supported with evidence in the cross-examination questions. There's 5 of you. That's quite a number. I thought you shared the workload very well. Obviously, you planned the 4-minute presentation, but also during the cross, you shared the wealth of knowledge that you have, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
I enjoyed your presentation a lot, and I loved that you were game on from minute one. You were subtly just saying, bring it in, because we're going to answer. And you did with depth. I love the turtle up concept. I forgot who exactly said that. But I thought that painted such a visual. And also the patents. We haven't heard anything about patents. We've heard about workers, but not necessarily people establishing patents. I thought that your eye contact was great, and it is hard to navigate a 5-person or 6-person panel, and it was flawless as far as that. You flowed really well. I enjoyed it a lot, and I don't really have any other constructive criticism or I could have sat here all afternoon. Thank you.
I thought you did a very good job. Your initial presentation was great. And then, this is supposed to be a team competition, and you acted extremely well as a team interacting with one another, nodding and for someone else to pick up on it. And you're a team of experts, and it was like each of you had a particular area of expertise on this issue, this important issue, and as I say, you responded very well to our questions.
Good job.
Please, just one last thing. Please, don't let this be some class assignment or something. You're all juniors. You got a tremendous future ahead of you. Please stay involved and
keep using your knowledge and leadership skills in the future. Good
Thank
job.
you.